It's the Riot Podcast. This is the Tuesday, July 25th edition. It's Christmas in July. You can always check out the RadioU Christmas in July channel for the rest of this month at RadioU.com and on the RadioU app for your phone. Question for you.
Alrighty.
You've got Jim the dog.
Oh, I got him.
He's a basset hound. If he was set free on his own, how long do you think he'd make it?
In the wilderness.
I think there's two different versions. How long would he make it in the city if he just scampered out of your house? And then how long would he make it if he was Bear Grillsing it out in the mountains somewhere?
I think that if he's out of my house, if he ran away, there's too many roads where I live. Live in a very busy area.
Yeah.
And I live right here, and he always does the same thing whenever he gets out. He runs right down to this like 4-lane major road where people are going like 60 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would get hit within like 6 hours by a car if I had to guess. Because he's ran right out in the middle of it before. He has no fear. But if he was out in the middle of the woods where cars weren't a thing and it was just other wild animals, I think he would last a while. I think he'd go a long time.
He'd probably be able to...
Multiple days.
He'd be able to... He's a basset hound, so he's
find food.
Good sense of smell. He'd be able to forage, right?
Yeah.
And
he's finding food 100%. He's never struggled with that.
And my thought is, I guess dogs are social creatures, so they look for like a pack or something to join up with or something like that, which could be dangerous because if they encounter...
the wrong animal.
Yeah, the wrong kind of pack, they might just be torn to bits by coyotes or wolves or something like that. But outside of that... Like, I have Zafira. We'll call her a border collie. She's a border collie mix. I think she would do fine. Like, she's big enough to protect herself, right?
Yeah.
And how often, like, let's be honest. If she was just out in the woods somewhere, how many real dangerous animals? Actually, like, depending on where you are, if you're thinking the Rocky Mountains, there could be bears and stuff. But other woods, how many animals are really bigger than like a 50, 60-pound dog?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
So as long as you take roads out of the equation, I think she'd do real well.
Yeah, she'd do fine. That's how Jim, he's like 60 pounds. He's thick.
Yeah.
I think he'd be okay.
He could hold up against, say, a badger or something.
Oh, yeah, easily. He's smashing a badger.
Uh-huh.
Coyote, that's different. You're just hoping that you aren't running into those.
Yeah.
Because they travel in packs.
Uh-huh.
So if like 3 of those gang up on him, it's game over.
Yeah.
If it's a one-on-one, he's not running away because he's slow. But maybe he can be intimidating enough to where the coyote decides not to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he can hold him off. I'm not sure. But yeah, just as long as he can go without running into something that's going to kill him, I think he would survive.
Yeah. I'm not asking this, by the way, because I'm thinking of setting
your dog free,
either of our dogs free, and seeing what happens, or like, I'm just done with her. I can't deal with the responsibility. I was just, it actually came up because there's a survey where the average American thinks their dog would last less than 2 days out in the wild.
Which is wild. People think, I guess when you think about it, though, some people, if you're averaging it out, there's a lot of people that own small dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So if your dog weighed 10 pounds, like, it's probably going quick.
Yeah.
Like a raccoon. If a raccoon could kill your dog, then your dog's going to go pretty quick.
I just still think, like, if you have, like, say, a Chihuahua or something, I don't think it's not going to be prey for very many creatures, right? Maybe like a really big bird, like a hawk.
Oh, yeah, hawk's taking it.
Might swoop in and take that thing. But other than that, like even badgers, I don't think they're going to, like, a Wolverine isn't going to attack your little Chihuahua if it's out on its own. I wouldn't think, unless it started sniffing where it shouldn't, in their burrow or something.
How about this? I've got a list of the top 10 animals that kill pets.
Okay.
I'm going to just list them off here. Some of the top ones, porcupines.
Oh, yeah.
Squirrels.
Really?
It says...
because of rabies, or?
Most squirrel attacks arise when a dog or a cat attempts to catch it. And while your pet will likely win the battle, the squirrel has sharp teeth and claws. They can damage your pet and end up long-term kill.
So, yeah.
Raccoons, obviously. Cougars, depending on where you live.
Oh, yeah.
Snakes. And then coyotes.
Okay. Yeah, coyotes are the only one, because I just feel like for our dogs, I guess maybe they may be the aggressor, but And so against a badger or something that could, or porcupine or something, could lead in a bad direction. But if your dog is staying away from those things, even if it's tiny, it's not going to be attacked by many of those, except for coyotes, right?
Coyotes, yeah. Snakes, maybe.
Maybe.
It probably would have to come across a snake. You know?
Yeah, I just don't know what the odds of that are. And just a standard woods, not like a national park where all of the big beasts are preserved and able to live out their lives and not be hunted or whatever. Like in the standard woods, I think many dogs would do much better than we give them credit for.
Yeah, I think so too. But if you've got a little dog, I'm assuming that's probably where the most people have their have their doubts. If you've got like a little tiny dog,
yeah, maybe we've just coddled our pets too much.
Maybe we let them free.
We need to toughen them up for the days where they might have to rough it for whatever reason.
I'll just send Jim out and we'll see how many days he can make it without my help, and then he can come back.
That's it. Yeah, that
makes sense, right?
Maybe he'll be grateful.
Exactly. He'd be way more grateful for the food I give him every single night when he's sniffing around for berries and nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And so his food's going to taste. Yeah, his food's going to taste a lot better.
I think so. All right. Great show coming up. Stick around. You'll be glad you did. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Now, who doesn't want to live longer? I mean, the longer the life, the better, especially a long, healthier life. And so this is great news. I have here, scientists have discovered that if you adopt these 8 habits, this sounds like an infomercial or like a clickbait, but this is true. This is actual science. The 8 habits that if you adopt by the time you're 40, you can increase your lifespan by at least 21 years. They say men that adopted all 8 of these habits lived on average 24 years longer, and women who did it were able to add about 21 years to their life on average. So here's what you got to do, and you got to do it by the time you're 40. Now, before we get into them, admittedly, some of them are a little vague.
A little vague?
Yeah, but I mean, we'll go through, we'll see how this works. All right, number 1, maintain physical activity.
Easy money.
As long as by the time you're 40, you become physically active and stay physically active, that's 1. And by the way, just adopting 1, because they have it mapped out here too, just adopting 1 of these 8 would add like, say, 3-4 years to your life. So even just doing 1, as many of these as you can do, is going to add time to your life. Maintain physical activity. Number 2, avoid opioid addiction. I've got that one down.
I'm good for now.
Yeah. So
I guess I got 15 years to keep that up.
Yeah, that's right. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, I guess. Next, abstain from smoking. I'm also good on that.
Next.
That means I've got like 10 extra years already just going through, and we're only a third of the way through the list.
Just like that.
Next up, managing stress.
That seems kind of vague.
See, that's what I'm saying. Some of them are a little less set in stone, but managing
let's
stress.
say we got it.
Yeah, right. We're clear.
I'm good.
Now we've got like 20 years.
Yeah.
No, wait. No, we're still.
Now we're at 10.
Yeah, we're at 10. Okay, how about this? Adopt a healthy diet. Stuff.
We got 15 years to do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We still got time. We're not 40 yet, so adopt a healthy diet. Refrain from regular binge drinking. Okay, doable. Ensuring good sleep hygiene. All right, there we go.
Ensuring what?
Ensure good sleep hygiene.
That means being clean while you sleep, or like getting lots of sleep?
I think that means getting the right amount of sleep, having a good sleep routine. So we're pretty bad on. But
I'm out on that one.
Again, we've got several years. We've got until we're 40 to get these all locked down. If we want to add 24 years to our lives,
I guess I have to retire.
And then one more: foster positive social relationships. You probably have that covered, right?
Having friends, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't think I have any negative social relationships. I just don't have a ton of them. So, all in all,
that's a year. That's for sure giving you an extra year.
As long as I can stick, yeah, right. As long as I can stick with this until I'm 40, and then for the rest of my life after that, I think I've got a great life expectancy, it sounds like.
Yeah, plenty of time to figure it out, too.
I was worried this list would be like a whole bunch of stuff I need to change, but actually it sounds like I'm doing okay.
Easy money.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
Some of you think this is a good dad. How good of a dad is this? Rich Lieberman. He's from Virginia. He just took his 15-year-old son, Jacob, on a road trip all the way from Virginia up to Niagara Falls.
That's far.
It's a long trip. I would have to estimate, depending on where in Virginia they are, that's at least 8 hours, probably closer to 10. It's a trek. It could be all the way up to like 12. Let me just keep saying more numbers that it could be. 11. It could be 11 hours.
Could it be 9?
There's no way of knowing. We can't look it up. But the reason that they went to Niagara Falls is not to experience the majesty that is the biggest, the most water that goes over a waterfall anywhere in the world, I believe. It wasn't that. The reason that they did this road trip is simply to buy ketchup chips.
What?
You know how in Canada they have ketchup-flavored chips? It's pretty popular there.
This is crazy. This is wild.
It's crazy. Is it a good dad move?
You know what's wild about how this is such a crazy story. I didn't know we were talking about this before. I just got mailed ketchup chips like yesterday.
You got mailed ketchup chips
from like one of my friends in Canada because they wanted me to try them because there's such a big thing there.
And they're pretty popular.
I haven't tried them yet. I can't imagine.
What are the odds?
I can't imagine driving all the way to Niagara Falls though.
Just for any chips?
To buy any kind of chips.
Yeah.
No chance. I mean, if the kid wanted these. What a great father-son duo we got here.
Yeah.
What a great dad move. But for me, there's no way I'm taking my kid all the way to Niagara Falls. They must have had nothing to do this weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like it amounts to, because to nip the one obvious question in the bud, yes, they know that you can buy them online. You could get them shipped from Amazon or whatever.
But it's about the experience.
But this is about the experience.
Memories.
The dad said that, look, they've only got so much time before school starts. They wanted to just do something. They had nothing going on. Now, I do have to question, what does the dad do with his life if he's got time?
Not a darn thing.
Because for me, vacation time is too valuable. Although Niagara Falls is fun to go to, but to use vacation time just to get ketchup chips. But it was a good father-son bonding situation. Did I mention that they didn't just buy ketchup chips? They bought 40 bags of ketchup chips.
You gotta get your money's if you're gonna drive that far.
That's right. You gotta
better get your money's worth.
Yeah. So, but I did have a question. We went on a road trip for ketchup chips. I've had them. Obviously, I'm Canadian.
What do you think?
Not a chip that I would lean towards.
Got it.
I don't even think they're the best kind of chips that Canada has to offer.
Oh. Hot take.
You can get these now in the U.S., but they're still more of a Canada thing. All dressed chips, real good.
Real good, huh?
Much better. In fact, Jacob here, the 15-year-old, and his dad say they may one day move on to all dressed chips to see how those are. But my question is, what's a food that you would road trip for? That is something you can't get in the area that'd be worth taking a trip for. You need to think about it.
That's a good question. Let's talk about it next.
All right. And text in if you've got a food that you think is worth road tripping for. 8772 RadioU.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
You can text in at 8772 RadioU. The question is, what is a food that's worth road tripping for? If you were like, man, I just really need this food, but I can't get it here, so I'm going to drive. I'm going to drive several hours for it. What would it be? Because I've got a family, a father and son duo that just took a trip from Virginia all the way to Canada, Ontario, Canada, to Niagara Falls, like at least 8-hour drive just to get 40 bags of ketchup chips. They did it a little for the experience, but also because the kid this 15-year-old son loves ketchup chips. So Isaiah, what is something for you that you would drive all that way for? It feels like an unlikely scenario, but what's something you would do?
See, when I think about like food that I've traveled for, it's almost always fast food. There's something that I've ever like had to buy at a store that I think I would ever travel for. Because there's nothing like
at the store, right?
At the grocery that I like that much. That I have to cook myself. But I have traveled for like fast food.
Yeah, restaurants.
Like whenever I go to Indiana, I always get Culver's.
Okay.
Every time. And I'll go out of the way to get it. And I'll go out of the way to get Cane's. That's another one. I'll go out of the way to make sure I get that. Those are like the big two that in my lifetime I've really spent time going out of the way for. Other than that, there's not a lot of other like fast food restaurants that I've went out of my way for to get. What about you?
For me, I'm waiting to hear back on this person's name, but they actually texted in my exact answer. So I'm going to hold on that. But Jeff in New Hampshire texted in. He said he would travel for Tijuana Flats. He would have to do the reverse road trip of what this father and son did, going to Canada to get ketchup chips, because he'd have to go all the way from New Hampshire to Virginia. You ever been to Tijuana Flats?
I've never been.
That's a chain, right?
Yes.
It is a chain. He just doesn't have any near him. Caleb says he road tripped about 5 hours to get real Chicago deep dish pizza. Like real Chicago style. You like Chicago style?
I'm not a big fan of it. That's not really my style. I'm a thin crust guy.
I'm into Chicago, but it doesn't feel like if somebody says, let's get pizza, I'm not thinking of Chicago style. You know what I mean? But I do like it. I like it a lot. And in fact, I have a similar story. Me and my friend specifically scheduled a layover in Chicago so we could do just this exact thing. Flying from Phoenix, we tried to get out of there as quick as we could, but we had to pick where our layover was. We're like, let's do Chicago so we can try like real deep dish. So that's a big one there. Zach said Buc-ee's. Nene would be proud. Buc-ee's, the gas station, specifically for their maple jerky. And I still don't have this person's name, but it's crazy that this is the answer I had in mind. The restaurant cookout. That was the first thing that leapt to mind. There's no cookouts are only like in the South, right?
Yeah.
And
you've been to one, of course, right?
I've been to one. I don't even know if it was that good.
It's not.
But it was good enough. And the idea that it's not close by, would I make a trip just for cookout? No. Would I detour my road trip through the South anyways to make sure we hit a cookout and go out of my way? Definitely. Absolutely, because it was good enough. And I just want to try it again. It's a cool place.
Yeah, I like Cookout. They have good like milkshakes and whatnot. Good little place. He said his name's Adam. It was worth it not only for the cookout, but the memories. See, the memories, that's the part that really matters.
Right.
Like, the food is never going to be really like worth it, but like the fun that you have along the way is always the good part.
Oh, this is a good one too. Thomas, I've actually never been here, but In-N-Out. You knew somebody was going to say that. People will schedule their trips around, including In-N-Out. Yep.
Solid. It's really good. I'm a fan of In-N-Out.
Yep.
Solid.
So real good answers. Actually, I feel like this has taught me that a food road trip actually is something we should all plan on.
A food road trip?
Yeah, for the not just for the food, but like Adam said, for the memories.
If you find somewhere that you like enough, then maybe it can be worth it.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
You ever you kiss on the first date?
Don't be trying to ask me questions like that.
It's a line that I feel like most people have like a thought in mind of whether they would or not, right?
Whether you would kiss on the first date or not?
Yeah, you kind of.
I guess it depends if you look at the person and you're like, are they cute?
I think if you're using like a dating app or something,
feeling it?
Like you make up your mind before you've made up your mind on whether you'd be open to it before the date ever starts.
Unless you get surprised when you get there that they're not nearly as cute as you thought they would be.
If you get catfished, it could be. But here's another question you have to ask yourself, apparently, before you go on a first date. Another line that might be crossed. Would you be open to having your pimple popped on the first date?
By the other person?
Uh-huh.
We're not doing that.
Somebody is.
What?
Somebody is. I've got a gal here. She's apparently a model in New York City. She's 20 years old. Had a Hinge date set up that everything was seeming to go so well. She got breakfast with the guy. They were walking through Central Park. Everything was going well. I mean, it sounds picturesque. Sounds real cute. But they got so comfortable that the guy eventually asked on this first date if he could pop the pimple on her forehead.
You don't want to do that. That's a terrible move.
That feels like a double whammy, right?
Like, what are you thinking?
that's a double whammy because first of all, it's gross and painful. Second of all, you're pointing out that you noticed the big pimple on her forehead. You can't do that, right?
Because then when she says no, which I assume she obviously did, then what's she thinking the rest of the time? She's staring at this pimple on my forehead.
That's a make or break right there on the date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to be real sure that she's going to say yes, or that's the end of the date. Like where could the conversation even go from there?
Yeah, exactly. Like when she says no, then he's like, "Oh, okay." Like, what do you even do? What do you do from there?
Yeah, and then for her, like she says, this she calls it. She was violently humbled.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, because now, like, how could you even feel comfortable going on a first date again? You can't. Your last first date. Notice the giant pimple on your forehead. How do you recover from that?
Yeah, you don't. When they say, "Can I pop that pimple?" that makes you feel so self-conscious. You probably were worried about it before the date anyway.
Yeah.
But then you were like, they probably won't even notice. Like, the other people don't notice nearly as much as you notice about yourself.
Right.
And then you go on the date and he's like, "Can I pop that?" That's going to need popped.
I don't want anybody to pop any of my pimples, whether they notice them or not. I'm less concerned with them noticing, but I don't want people touching them.
I don't want people on the first date asking about anything on my face that looks like an imperfection.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if you had like a singular hair between like your eyebrows and they were like, "You mind if I pluck that?" You're like, "You noticed? Really? You noticed that? Are you serious?" So for me, I don't think you need to do any of that.
Don't point out people's blemishes on a first date. That's, it could be, some might consider it a power move. I just consider it a jerk move, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think I think it's weird. I don't think he was doing it to be mean. But I think it's just weird. I think you're a weirdo.
It's just got a weird thing. Just go.
But at the same time, the bunch of people on the internet think he's great for that.
Pimple popper people.
They said, respectfully, this is a green flag. Keeper. He's the one. Where do you find guys like this? Please tell me you're talking/seeing him again. Like, what? For me, that's an automatic no.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there should be a dating site just for pimple popper people.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
When you think of NASA, what's the first word that comes to mind?
Space.
Space. I knew you would say that. Okay, what's the second word that comes to mind?
NASA, space, the moon.
Moon, right?
People love the moon. Rocket. That would be another one for me.
That's a good one. I think most people think of NASA and you think going to the moon. But the reality is that's not what most people want NASA to be doing.
What do they want them to do?
A new survey here says that the number one thing people want NASA to do, asteroids. Keep track of them.
Asteroids?
Yeah, people want NASA to be on top of the location, the trajectory for asteroids to make sure, I guess, none are going to hit Earth, impact Earth. That's a top thing people think NASA, according to this survey of 10,000 Americans, that's the number one thing they think NASA should be doing.
Got it. So no asteroids hitting Earth. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I guess it's important work. Somebody needs to do it, right? It just feels like the odds of an asteroid hitting Earth are astronomical.
When was the last time we had a big one? Really do something.
Yeah, not in our lifetime.
Nope.
Yeah. Although I did see, did you see that story from like last week about the French lady that got hit with a little tiny meteorite while she was having coffee?
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
It's a good story.
And you know what happened? She's no worse for the wear.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
She got hit by a meteorite. She's just fine.
Hit with a rock?
So I feel like asteroids aren't as big of a deal, but that's the number one thing people want NASA to be doing. Meanwhile, that was like 60% of people think that's the top priority for NASA. Meanwhile, only 12% of people think NASA should be focusing on sending astronauts to the moon and or Mars.
Oh, even Mars?
Yeah, Mars included.
I feel like Mars would be cool. We don't want to go to Mars?
I thought this like you're the opposite of the American public on this.
Yeah, I want us to land on things.
It feels like that's all you care about.
All I care about is landing on things. If we didn't touch it, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, we can't claim it.
We can't claim it until we touch our feet on it.
Yeah.
So nobody wants us to go to Mars, huh? That was the big thing. I'm down with Mars. Send them there. Walk them around.
Mm-hmm.
See if we can hang out there. I thought that was the plan. I thought that was the whole plan.
Well, that is the plan. And see, this is the controversy because apparently, according to this survey, and this is 10,000 Americans. So this isn't like, oh, you can't fudge the numbers on 10,000 people. Only 12% thinks that NASA should be sending people to the moon and Mars. But if you look at like what Congress's NASA budget is preparing for, it's giving more funding to sending people up into outer space and not as much for like the sciencey kind of side of NASA, which it seems that people are more think is more what NASA should be worrying about.
See, I think that we should be worried about going to find in some other planet that we can hang out on. It seems as if we've already kind of done this one in.
You think so?
I think that maybe this one seems like it's on the fringe.
I think it's still got some legs.
You think so? You think we can turn this thing around?
I still think there's some future for Earth.
See, it's like the same people that like really want us to turn it around, but it's impossible.
Yeah, so that is true. The people are like,
they're like, well, you guys have already
danger. And there's nothing we can do. Yeah.
Because, 40 years ago, if we had started recycling, we'd be in a better place.
Yeah.
But now it's too late. But we still should try to. I think we need to just find a new one.
You think that's easier than getting like the whole world on electric cars and stopping pollution?
100% is. Come on. We can't convince everybody to do anything.
Yeah.
Let alone, I think we just need to go find a new one, I guess, and start anew.
So Mars it is?
I think we need to send them up there. I think send them up there. Yeah. Figure it out.
The journey of an entire population begins with a few astronauts.
And think about how cheap property could be. Everybody's talking about how much houses cost.
We could invest in real estate on Mars.
A whole new planet.
Yeah.
It'd be so much more available. It already sounds better.
We need to get in on this. NASA.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
I feel like this story about vacation has the potential to make some people real sad, actually. So I apologize if that's the case. But you want to know how much the average American spends on vacation? Their budget for vacation would be?
How much?
$2,743.
Does that include the flight?
It has to, right?
You would think.
That's a part of the vacation. You can't if you're going somewhere. That's a part of the vacation.
Then
you gotta budget for that.
That makes sense.
You think that sounds about right?
That sounds about right. Yeah,
I think that sounds reasonable for an American. I'll tell you that 16% of people admit that they wouldn't even spend $1,000 on a vacation, which I think that's difficult to do.
Yeah, I don't know where you're doing that. You're not flying.
You're definitely not flying. Mm-hmm.
And you're not staying anywhere longer than 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Even if you're traveling solo and you're driving, it wouldn't take long for you to spend $1,000.
No, if you do let's say you do 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Let's say it was $100 a night. That's at least $300.
Let's think about this.
Then you have $700 to work with.
What if we did it this way? Let's try to imagine the cheapest vacation you would possibly be happy with. You probably have to be camping. Would you be happy with camping?
I don't know if I'd be happy camping.
You're not a happy camper.
I'd need some people there that would make me happy.
Well, they could be camping too.
Yeah, but what are we doing? What are we doing? Do we have a cabin?
A cabin, then that's going to drive the price back up. I'm talking about you need like a tent, maybe an RV, but how do you factor in the RV into the vacation budget? Are you renting it? Do you purchase it? Because that counts, I think.
Yeah, for sure counts.
If you're like, all right, like let's say you're down in the dumps, you've got no money, you just had a big expense, some kind of big expense that ate up all of your money. And you're like, but I still need a vacation. The cheapest thing you could possibly do. It's gotta be camping.
It has to be camping.
It has to be camping. It has
you need to go enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, that's right. Because
you better go enjoy some sweet silence.
You can't get what else could you do for free on a vacation?
Nothing. Nothing is free.
But camping, you just sit outside. You can a lot of camping, like they have a lake or something. You just hop into the lake, and then you could do a week, and you might only spend like $300 or something. I don't know, like $20 a night at campsites.
I guess another thing you could do if you want a cheap vacation, you go somewhere where you can visit someone.
Yeah.
How you like me
think
now?
of that? Yeah.
How you like me now, huh?
But what if more your family lives closer, but you still have family that lives in other states and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just go stay with them, then the hotel's out of the equation. Then you can go do 1 or 2 fun things that are like outings and still only spend like less than $200.
There it is.
That's the way to do it.
That's the best way to do it. Have a lot of friends.
Yeah. And family.
And cool places.
That you can drive to.
That's a very important too.
Yeah.
This is the most important part.
Yeah, you can't be flying on a cheap vacation.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
You can only eat one sandwich for the rest of your life. You get one.
All right.
What's that sandwich?
Let's figure out some of the loopholes here. How much are you allowed to alter the sandwich from time to time? Or is it literally the exact same sandwich?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, right?
I think you can do some slight alterations.
Okay. Like switch up let's say you have cheese on it. You can do different types of cheese.
What about different types of sauces?
See, it becomes a slippery slope.
Doesn't it? That's quick, huh?
So are you saying, should we just say it has to be the exact same sandwich every single time?
It might have to be.
Now, wait, state the question again.
You can only eat one sandwich for the rest of your life. That doesn't mean that this is the only food you're eating forever.
Okay, yes, that's what I wanted to clarify.
No, this is just that you only get one sandwich.
So you can eat whatever,
you can still
but if
eat
you choose
pasta,
BLT, you cannot also have, what's another sandwich?
A grilled cheese.
A grilled cheese. You can't have a grilled cheese for the rest of your life. You're saying no to grilled cheese. BLTs only, although you can still have salad and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other things we need to nail down before?
I'm just going to make this real clear, real quick. A hamburger, not a sandwich.
Yes, it is. We're not going to do this again, are we?
That's going to change the whole thing.
As it should.
Because,
but then you'd be signing. Actually, you know what? In this case, for the question, I'm happy with it not being a sandwich because then I can still have hamburgers.
Yeah, because if I
don't choose it.
If we said that a hamburger is a sandwich,
who's not going to pick that?
Everyone's picking hamburger.
But then you're stuck with one type of hamburger anyways. You don't want that.
Everyone's picking cheeseburger, whatever it is. That's for sure the pick.
All right, so this is it. You can still eat other foods, but if you had to pick only one sandwich that you're allowed to have the rest of your life, 8772 Radio U. Let us know what it would be. And man, I actually have some thinking to do, so I'll get working on that, Isaiah, and we'll see what people are saying coming up next.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
As far as sandwiches go, could only have one sandwich for the rest of your life, and I just want to clarify that it doesn't mean you can't have other foods. It's just you're signing yourself up for only one option of sandwich for the rest of your life. Which one are you going with? People have been texting in at 8772 Radio U. Kelly says BLT, no questions asked.
That's going to be a popular answer.
That's a classic one. Classic one. Hard to dispute the BLT. D says a real club sandwich with three pieces of bread. The classic way to do it.
She said there's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That is fair. Rachel, texting in trying to cheat. She says, if I say a chicken sandwich, does that mean I can get it from any place and any type? I said, no, Rachel. You can't win the question by being purposely vague.
So what? Are we taking grilled? Fried?
Nashville
spicy,
hot, barbecue,
shredded.
You need to be specific. You can't just say...
You can't just pick a meat.
Yeah, that's right. If we said a ham sandwich, everybody would know what we were talking about, but you can't just say chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's a vague one, unfortunately, but it's a good choice.
Yeah, if I could do that, then yeah. Judah says he's got a specific sandwich. He says Dave's bread, mayo, sliced ham, pepperoni, and American cheese. He says he has that every day anyways.
Well, then there you go. That's an easy answer. I think that your answer should be whatever sandwich you have the most. It may not even be the sandwich that you like the most. I think it's whatever sandwich you have the most. This should be the one that you pick.
Okay.
You might love Philly cheesesteaks. Realistically, how often are you having a Philly cheesesteak? Probably not that often.
I do love them. I was actually, if we're not counting a hamburger as a sandwich, I also wouldn't count a cheesesteak as a sandwich.
Interesting.
Furthermore, a hot dog, a lobster roll, anything that doesn't have the bread completely disconnected, the hamburger does. But if it doesn't come on like bread or like, a roll, then I think we all know the difference. So I don't think we need to start drawing the line of sandwiches. You know what I mean? I think we all know when we're talking sandwich, we're talking sandwich.
So why don't you talk about your sandwich?
All right. I thought it's not the sandwich that I would have most often, but the sandwich that I would be most sad if I had to give it up, which is a combo of liking the sandwich a lot and eating it a lot frequently. And so my answer is grilled cheese.
It's a good answer.
Because a real good grilled cheese, I don't want to have to give that up. Some of the other ones across my mind, my probably second choice might be a Cuban, because that's one of my favorite sandwiches to order if I go somewhere. But would I miss the Cuban more than I miss the grilled cheese? Probably yes.
That's a good pick. Grilled cheese is a great option. For me, I considered grilled cheese. And there was a time in my life where I would have picked grilled cheese.
Yeah.
I have since grown. And now I'm probably going to go.
Good.
I think I'm going to go with a pulled pork sandwich.
Oh, that's right. It's kind of unfair to the pulled pork sandwich that a hamburger doesn't count as a sandwich for the purpose of this question, but a pulled pork sandwich, it has sandwich in the name.
It is.
Even though it also comes on a roll.
I mean, if you're going, I can't give up barbecue.
If it's in the name. I
mean, pulled pork sandwich, when I go out to restaurants, that's usually one of my go-to things that I order, no matter where I'm going. I always keep the pulled pork.
Here's my workaround on that. Any barbecue restaurant you go to, you could get the pulled pork sandwich. You could also get pulled pork platter. Just bread. So I'd be fine with doing that. It's an excellent choice. It's a great sandwich, but that's why I would not choose it.
Yeah,
because I think I can still be happy eating pulled pork. You can't be happy eating melted cheese. But it's not grilled cheese.
You must never heard of mac and cheese.
It's not the same.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at RadioU.com/donate.